In order to be the man, you have to beat the man. It's the Going Off podcast, rap critic and muse, styling, profiling, limousine riding, Learjet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, sons of guns. And you may not like it, but you will learn to love it, because the Going Off podcast is the best thing going today. Woo!
The best thing going on.
I'm clipping the mic so bad. Woo! What a show we have this week.
The Going Off squad back in the arena.
Oh yeah, we fully represented here. The Going Off squad in full force. It's worth addressing at the very top of the show that what our plans were originally going to be. We were originally going to be reviewing the Barbie soundtrack in support of the current writers and actors strike. We're not going to help support and promote the movie or the soundtrack. I think that's the only right thing to do.
That does fucking suck for Margot Robbie, though. Like, she has to do it because it is her movie. It's like, all right. But didn't she say on the campaign trail, she was just like, but I still stand in solidarity with the people that
that's
are
good.
Like striking or whatever.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, I'm contractually obligated to do this or else they'll sue me.
Fuck.
But, you know?
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
But instead, we've got 3 album requested reviews we're going to be doing this week from all over the map.
I'm thinking we hit the hip-hop album first.
Oh, yeah.
Then second, we do the level 11. Then we close it out with our main man, Bowie.
You know, it's funny. A couple weeks ago, because I feel like we talk about Bowie at least once a month at this point, that
it's a season of our show at this point. Yeah.
We did Bowie first because your rationale was he had the least criticism, so we had the least to probably say about it, and because it was like a listener requested, like, submitted album that we wanted to, like, save for last, because you're just like, this album needs the most, like, feedback, essentially. But I agree with you completely on this one, that I think Bowie is the main event. The rap album we've got is only 22 minutes, and I don't really know how much material we're going to have on that one, unfortunately. And yeah, Miracle of Sound, it's definitely a mid-card, if I may continue the wrestling motif we've got going on here. But before we get into any of the reviews...
That's right. I've got...
Yeah. You're going to have to remind me what this is and what I got to look up.
I have such sights to show you, Muse. So I came across this trailer. This is oh boy, guys are doing Try Not to Laugh Challenge, Sleazy 70s Trailer Edition.
Yay.
I've just been coming across, like, 70s trailers, and it's just so funny how they're cut, you know, because they're like, they don't expect anyone to ever watch these more than once, so they're...
Look, where would you be watching this more than once? How could you? Unless you went to the movies more than once and saw it as a coming attraction twice.
Right, and so it's interesting to hear them, like, you know, repeating things and saying things.
Oh, man.
And just the way they say certain things to get your attention. So, I'm sending Muse now the trailer for Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens. And I want you to watch this whole trailer and try not to laugh. I wish we could do a visual podcast to see our buddy Muse's face with this ridiculous 70s trailer.
Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens, 1979.
That's right, by Russ Meyer.
Oh,
the visionary.
It's our boy Russ Meyer? Oh my god, I had no idea. Of Mondo Topless fame?
Oh, ain't but one.
Oh shit, okay. Let me...
You gotta see this trailer.
Yeah, let me turn it up here.
Not since our music video that we found with what was the black dude who did the R&B, but it looked like Star Wars or some shit. Like,
oh my god, that's right, Billy Ocean.
Yes, not since that have I had such a find for the podcast this week.
With the weird lizard planet. Okay.
Yes.
This motion picture was produced for a mature audience in excess of 18 years. Parental guidance is recommended. Right. For those of a lesser age. Are you serious? I'm not gonna take a child to a Russ Meyer flick, even if it is like under parental supervision. That's fucked.
They are guaranteeing that you guys see this.
Oh my god.
Kids stay home.
No, we're gonna make excuses for people of every age. Please see this. Okay. We need to recoup our massive financial loss. Okay.
All right. So try. I defy you. Keep a straight face.
Yeah? I pressed...
Keep a straight face.
I pressed start and I already heard trumpets and I already laughed.
Those sleazy trumpets.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm starting it again. Although, it's hard for me to start from scratch because I'm already laughing, like... Okay.
Russ Myers, Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens. Movie maker Russ Meyer, the rural Fellini, serves up a simple, homey tale of Olympian togetherness, faith-healing, bra-busting humor, jogging, and hulking Herculean masculinity. Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens, a motion picture born to entertainment, vibrant, spellbinding, and so hilariously funny.
So hilariously funny.
Of the Ultra Vixens, an all-out assault on today's sexual mores and more. An end-around attack against women's lib, blasting through the male machismo syndrome, kicking the crap out of convictions, hang-ups, obsessions, bag. Sexually aggressive females, willing, klutzy men, petroleum jelly, gingham and gossamer, tax-sheltered religion, black socks, bedroom prowess,
Black socks!
artists, big breast fixations, rear window rednecks, therapeutic cuckolding, the 60-mile-an-hour zinger, born-again immersion, unfaithful girlfriends, the kangaroo pouch, limp-wristed
The kangaroo pouch!
and virile garbage men. Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens, a cinematic smorgasbord of mind-boggling beauty. Yeah, gals like
Yeah.
Flovera, Junkyard Sarah, Eufaula, and the very big blonde. 6 of the
very big blonde, thank you.
That's a name, TM.
Russ Meyer. Russ Meyer, Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens. Grand, glorious, hilariously funny movie entertainment for adults. Strictly
Hilarious funny movie entertainment for adults.
And children, I guess.
Valley of the Ultra Vixens.
Holy shit, dude.
I was in the middle of drinking some water, and like I caught myself, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't swallow this because I'm trying so hard not to laugh." And then as soon as it said an all-out attack on women's lib, I was like, I couldn't take it. And we're getting a little politically incorrect. I was like, "Oh no, get out of here!"
I need to send you the if you've never heard this, I need to hear your reaction to the intro to Russ Meyer's Mondo Topless if you've never heard it before.
What is this? Oh no!
Because
No, I haven't seen
he
it.
does the exact same like type of introduction.
Is it the same, like, sounds like George Carlin is introducing it sort of thing?
He's talking over the top about this amazing film. But he sounds so angry about tits. It's so fucking funny.
I just love the last part where it's like, you can tell he's been doing it for a while, and so they're telling him to do another take, so he's like, fuck it, I'll do a goofy take. Beneath the belly of the Ultra Vixens.
It's like mocking us.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, please. I need to hear the audio over the phone of the Mondo Topless.
Too much for one man, Mondo Topless.
San Francisco, a spumoni-like hodgepodge of wild architecture harboring wonderful old-world restaurants and emporiums of pleasure. Exploding from dusk to dawn with the way-out craze of the topless, formed and nurtured by staid and stolid San Francisco, and cut loose to rampage across the USA and even Europe. National publications such as Life, Playboy, and Esquire have documented the topless.
The topless.
Documented the topless.
And the mores of people everywhere. Mondo Topless captures the basic quintessence of the movement.
I just chicks chicks without shirts on, and he's like treating it like, can you believe, viewers?
You've never seen this before in your entire life. It's a craze, it's sweeping the globe.
Oh my God.
Movement, way out wild movement. Here, go-go girls, in and out of their environment, will be revealed to you in scenes that can only be summarized as a swinging tribute to unrestrained female anatomy.
Unrestrained female anatomy.
Basement color. But unbelievable just barely describes all of
Unbelievable, barely described. I just love this because it's like you know why they're speaking so heightened at the time, because it's like the 50s tits. Can you fucking believe we're about to show you tits? But it's just so like quaint now to be like, oh my God, tits.
Yeah, this is like, I forget it. It's 1966. It's like, it's right before the Summer of Love, and there's still a little bit of, like, innocence there, but San Francisco is the way out liberal town, and Russ Meyer is gonna show you how the craze of the topless is just taking the city by storm.
The mores unloosened by time, unrestrained by the like, it's one of those things where it's like, they're being subversive by like advertising for it, but at the same time, there's still kind of like, depending on your, the titillation of, what I'm trying to say, where it's like, what is it? Like, they're trying to have it both ways, where it's like, oh my God, can you believe something so scandalous? But you definitely want to check it out though, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the way he describes it as like, it's challenging the mores of the nation. Like, we are pushing the envelope, folks. You are not only witnessing a movie of women shaking their giant tits, but you are witnessing a moment in time where life and the country itself will change before your very eyes. This is the beginning of a new era.
The country will be rocked to its core by naked boobies.
You nor the country will ever be the same. Tits! You can't believe!
And the thing about it is, like, I mean, is he wrong?
I don't know. I need interviews with people who left Mondo Topless. It's like, were you shaken to your fucking foundation? What happened?
It's like, oh my God, they just let women be topless these days.
fantastic dances featuring the world's loveliest buxotics.
Buxotics?
I dreamed there were women like these until now, but they're real.
They're real!
Loveliest buxotics. You've only dreamed there were women like these until now, but they're real. Unbelievably real in Mondo Topless.
Like, it's almost like he's telling you a nightmare. They're real. From your deepest wet dreams.
Delicious Dollar Paris, yummy Diane Young, exciting Donna X, and bouncy Babette Bardot.
And bouncing Bonnet Bano.
Consisting of sensitive comments and opinions by the very topless dancers wildly gyrating before your eyes.
Wait, what?
He's losing it.
Bouncy Babette Bardot. Yes, for the very first time, you will hear actual on-the-spot recorded tapes consisting of sensitive comments and opinions by the very topless dancers wildly gyrating before your eyes.
I love it! Not only are you going to see their bodies, you might also hear their opinions.
I remember there's one clip, I don't think it's in the intro, but he introduces someone and just goes, "I dare you to listen to a word she says." Like, it'll be impossible. You won't understand a thing she says.
Oh my God.
Pearls of wisdom based upon guarded personal experiences, all played against a backdrop of tempestuous, soul-stirring rock and roll music.
My best line is a problem where I can't find a bathing suit.
Okay, someone had to edit that. Someone did edit. Can you believe the titties? Can you believe what they're gonna say? They're gonna say some wild out shit. And she's like, I can't find my bikini. I don't know what's happening.
It's amazing! Holy fuck!
Wow, wow, wee wog.
Folks, I came just now. You won't believe it. I came so fucking much.
All over them.
All over the recording studio. I feel bad for the producers.
Oh, dropping loads.
Unbelievably real loads.
Okay, do we want to get to the serious news of the day?
and move on from the Buxotics? I don't know how we possibly could, RC. The Mondo Topless.
Stay a little longer.
But yeah, I think a spoonful of Buxotics does make the medicine go down. And in this case, we haven't talked about, music news too much. We don't really do that too much. We basically just stick to the reviews, but I don't think there's any...
To brass tacks.
I don't think there's any ignoring this one, because it's a pretty big deal. I want to look up Jason Aldean, because I know for a minute there, he was probably the most popular country singer. If I had to guess, he was probably one of the biggest names in country.
Luke Combs, that's the other guy, yeah.
Luke Combs is the current golden boy for sure. According to Wikipedia, his last album that came out in 2022 peaked at number 8 on the Billboard Hot 200. So
wow.
He's still doing pretty good. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of move this is. Because, Jason Aldean's new song, Tried in a Small Town. I read about it yesterday. And this was before I had seen the music video or heard any of the song. I just read the lyrics. And he was saying, I got a gun that my granddaddy gave me that the government wants to take from me, and I'd like to see them try it in a small town. And it's like, okay.
The ass kissing of the small town people acting like, oh, small town, you guys are so perfect, unlike those hint New Yorkers. Yeah, in the small town, people are the good people. And I'm so fucking sick of it because there's some rich guy who's living in fucking the nice parts of Nashville, ain't seen no parts of the poverty of the people who, he's trying to show this music off to. You know what I'm saying? I'm just so sick of this type of shit. Because, I'm here, country music used to actually be fucking rebellious and used to actually talk shit about the system and shit like that. But when I'm looking at these lyrics, this is such fucking ass backwards. The first thing I saw as soon as I see this lyric, let's fucking call it out. What does he say? Oh, sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk, carjack an old lady at the red light. He's kind of going like, oh, this is all this is what's happening in those big cities.
He's talking about the knockout game. What the fuck are you doing, Jason Aldean?
I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, what year did he release this fucking song? The knockout game. But just the fact that he's like, because he's talking about that, sucker punching a cop. We all know there's no petty crime in small cities. We all know there's no corruption of small fiefdom governments where they know that no one's gonna pay attention because it's a small town. And you're my cousin and you're just working with the business, so I'll just allow your people to have more of the da 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 da. That doesn't happen in a small town. And I was like, get the fuck out of me. I just hate this ass kissing and acting like all the corruption is just in the big cities and us small town people, we're all good. And then cuss out a cop, he spit in his face, you stomp on the flag and light it up. This fucking early 2000s Republican talking point. Who's burning a flag, bro? Who's burning a flag?
See, here's the thing. From looking at the music video, which is the biggest tell, he might have been able to skew this, but whoever made that music video, dude.
Oh, they knew what his audience was.
All it is George Floyd protest footage.
Oh my god.
And it's all the same fucking footage you see of we're just gonna show black crime. We're gonna show black people robbing stores. We're gonna show black people doing this and black people. And it's they know exactly what they're fucking doing. And it's the most offensive thing for Jason Aldean to then turn around and say, try to downplay this and say, I've been accused of some pretty bad things, but, that wasn't my intention. Lighting a flag up, you think you're tough. What the fuck is this besides just bullshit posturing?
Exactly. Like I said, and who is lighting up a flag? Is someone really, the type of person who is lighting up a flag is doing it to be there's so much corruption, and it makes me sad that this flag is supposed to stand for freedom, and that the idea is that we're lighting up the flag to protest the injustices that are happening. So for these guys to take it as, oh, you think you're bigger than me by lighting up the flag? You think you're a bad guy? Well, light it up in front of me then if you think you're so bad. It's just like, that's not even what people are trying. No one's trying to go, I bet you won't punch me if I light up this flag. No one is thinking that, like...
It's very frustrating because at the end of the day, Jason Aldean is not the fucking person who's going to be carrying out the violence. He's pushing the buttons with people who will carry
and
out.
Going back to his mansion.
Yeah, to where he doesn't have to think about it ever again. He's cashing in on the current fear-mongering and the paranoia of these racist people who have just been brainwashed by media selling them the same thing over and over and over again. We talk about it on the Own a Detox podcast, just about how the main guy we talk about the most, his biggest fear is like home invasions, and he's always sharing these videos. That's always how it is,
yeah.
He's always sharing these gas station videos, and it's like, yeah, if you're of that mindset to where you're looking at the news and the news is giving you nothing but black crime, you're going to assume that's all there is.
That's so what the song sounds like. Because like I said, the first thing, talk about sucker punching, not gonna... I was like, what are you even talking about? Like, that's not even near close to the big thing that should be on your mind that has happened this past year. You know what I mean? Like,
flag burnings are not common. You happen to have a video of one and you were able to put it in the video, so it's like, well, that's all the evidence your fucking fan base is gonna need. They saw the video, so now they're gonna, oh, well, that must be happening everywhere. It's
hold on. If you're trying to be like, oh, about the people, what about, oh, hey, the fucking checks that people didn't get? How about you bring that type of shit up? You know what I'm saying? If you actually really care about what the common man's going through, talk about the actual shit that they're going through. Hey, how about our government didn't help the people out? How come they didn't, make these vaccine tests available? I mean, not vaccine tests, but the tests for COVID. How come they didn't make those freely available to people? What
How
the
about
fuck?
the benefits for veterans? Aren't fucking country singers supposed to be
Exactly.
big with the
Where
fucking
is
veterans
all of that talk?
and everything?
Yeah.
And I don't know 100% if Jason Aldean, because I don't pay attention to this fucking hayseed all the time, but if these are types of things that he talks about normally, then I'm ignorant and I'm wrong and I'm open to people correcting me. But looking at this video and it's just raw liberal hate, I can't assume he's ever talking about those things, because all of it would sound like socialism. Any sort of like help for the veterans or help for the lower class and the poor, that's just been relabeled socialism by people on the right. So you're not going to want to cheer that, because your fan base is going to turn on you real quick.
All the good, rugged, individual people, all you guys need is blue jeans and your blonde-haired woman and your Bible in your truck, right? And your dirt roads. You don't need any, monetary assistance and help with your opium addictions. No, because you're rugged individuals, right?
All that government assistance, that's just...
welfare state, the nanny state.
That's just going to make you weak. Don't you deserve to live independent, free of the government's help? And it's like, Jason... how fucking out of touch are you? And this is why I was trying to think if he was on some downward slope, because I genuinely don't know how this is going to end up for him. And that's really why I kind of wanted to talk about it, because right now...
isn't CMT like they pulled the video?
CMT's not showing the video, which, yeah, I mean, if this was maybe 15 years ago before YouTube, that might be a big deal.
Right,
I don't
right.
know how influential CMT really is in 2023.
But it's like the fact that the country radio station that has every reason to kind of align over a thing like this is not aligning over it, you know what I mean? Like, that usually means something, you know?
And I don't know how much airplay on the radio a song like this is really gonna get. How often are you flipping through the channels and a song that like pisses you off gets radio play? It's all about the upbeat songs, because radio is all about
these days especially
songs to be playing in the fucking office, because where else are anyone listening to FM radio in 2023 and they're not listening to the songs on their phone? they're going to be playing the upbeat songs, maybe the sad songs, but they're not going to be playing the, oh my god, I'm going to kill the fucking cops if they come into my town and try to take my guns song. Like, there's a very good reason why you didn't hear This Is America on the radio either, if we could flip it around. Like,
true.
That was a fucking huge hit online, but the radio stations didn't want to touch it because it was fucking divisive. Radio stations aren't going to want to deal with a song like this, especially not since CMT decided to pull the music video. It's not worth the time and the effort trying to defend it. But if this was a guy who was on his way down and he wasn't still dropping pretty big albums, I would make more sense to me, like something like a Ted Nugent or a Kid Rock would do, because they don't really have much to lose. Like, they've already peaked decades ago. What do they have to lose except to maybe now grift and pander to a more extreme fan base that you haven't really reached out to before? But Jason Aldean, I think, is risking more than he's potentially going to get back from this. Like, it doesn't seem like a smart move business-wise. Now, if this has been something that's been burning up in him since 2020, and I'm guessing the George Floyd protest, because I think a lot of the footage in the video is from that, if that fucking was like the beginning of the end for him mentally, and this is just, I can't fucking take it anymore, but like, you gotta think of the repercussions something like this is gonna have.
And, you know, when you look at his statement, again, it's so mealy-mouthed. It's like, he doesn't even fucking say it with his whole chest.
No.
It's like the type of shit that's like you're trying to have it both ways. You're trying to signal to your friends and not actually get the heat of what it would be. But it's like, it's so clear what it is. I've been accused of releasing a pro-lynching song and was subject to the comparisons that I was not too pleased with the nationwide BLM protests. They're saying that I wasn't pleased with those protests. Those references are not only meritless, but dangerous. There isn't one single line that references race. And while I can try to respect others' interpretations, this has gone too far. As many have pointed out, I was present at Route 91, where so many lost their lives, and our community recently suffered another heartbreaking tragedy. No one, including me, wants to continue to see senseless. Like, oh, you're saying that I wasn't pleased with the nationwide BLM protest. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm against what people want to do with BLM. I'm just saying that, well, I mean, those protesters might have gone too far. You know, it's like the sort of like, what do you, say something specific. Give me a specific thing that you're talking about. You're just talking about, oh, well, you know, because the way he says it, it's the sort of middling sort of, oh, where so much happened, and I don't want to say which side I'm specifically on, but something happened, such happened, you know, like.
Him and his family are extremely right-wing. His wife is fucking terrible from the sounds of it. So this feels like his personal shit that is just spilling out now, but I don't know how much it's really going to help. But going back to the video, if he's saying, you know, there's not one line specifically, okay, like, you need to read between the lines, though, especially when you watch the music video. You don't have to have it spelled out to you explicitly, word for word, when you see nothing but black people being violent in the video, when you see white women being, like, mouthing off to the cops, and it's all to make you hate very specific groups of people. White liberal women, you're supposed to hate them. Black men, you're supposed to hate them because they're all violent. And white women are just disrespectful and they hate men.
And it's like that thing was like, oh, these people are just angry at cops for no reason. They just woke up and they're like, I'm living in a great country that has everything covered for me and everything is fine, but I'm too comfortable. I'm just gonna yell at a cop because I'm just so comfortable. Is that what happened, Jason Aldean? Or was there a little bit, like, that's what I'm talking about. It's like the way they just jump to, what, cops shouting at people? Cops are supposed to be the good guys. What? We all know that, right? Like, so look at this. Like, that's what I hate. It's like the fucking lack of balls. Like, they can't even make a specific statement. Like, I mean, it's either he wants to say something, but he can't fucking say it, or honestly, he's just a person like everyone else who's basically getting some parts of the picture. He knows he watches Fox because he thinks that's the, you know, morally neutral channel to watch, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what he grew up with. And so he's seeing all of these stories of the black people and they're like, well, maybe if the liberals could just see how we feel when I see this stuff, maybe they'll get on our side. They see we're not being being racist, but don't you see all those black people committing the crimes? I mean, come on. Don't you see it? You know, like I honestly feel like it's like, at best, this person's a useful idiot. At worst, he's a coward who can't say how he really feels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because when I first heard about this, the first thing I was reminded about was, oh, maybe this is a misguided thing like that. What was that? Incidental racist or whatever? Accidental racist. Like, maybe it's something like that. But no, once you see the video, it's black and white.
The Antifas are coming after you, yeah.
And how fucking old is this footage? Like, how far back did you have to go? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you're showing this footage like it's happening everywhere all the time now. When how far back did you have to go for this footage? What is the context of the footage? Like, he's specifically mentioning BLM protests. Like how often do these happen now?
And question. Any January 6th protest footage?
No, of course not. Why would there be?
What a coincidence. There's so much, all this unrest and civil unrest has happened. We need to just talk about it. We need to talk about how all these civil unrest, no one from our side though. We're not going to talk about any of them. No. But all of you guys are just going crazy. You know, it's like, oh, what a coincidence.
It's fucking disgusting. And I think the biggest reason I wanted to talk about it was it's specifically one of the biggest names in country is putting this video out, and you just know it's going to have a very wide reach. And that's what's so scary about it.
The fallout of it, yeah.
The scary part is the implications is, you know, just because you're talking about your small town or whatever and you're not being specific, there are plenty of people who do listen to your stuff that live in small towns and will be carrying out and will be inspired by what you're singing here. And it's just extremely irresponsible. Like, there's plenty of things you're not mentioning by name, but there's plenty of things that are already going on in people's heads. Namely, and I don't know, maybe this is just a personal bias, but everyone's recent obsession with trans people. Like, you don't mention them. A song like this
is the theater of the argument for you to put on what you already wanted to feel about.
Exactly.
What we all saw on the news. Yeah, that type of shit.
Just because you're not mentioning trans people by name, there are people who listen to the song and hear, you know, try it in a small town, who are going to see things that they already hate in a small town, and this is going to be their fucking rallying cry. Like, I just wish that... I don't know. There's so many things to be mad about, because not only is it irresponsible, but... it's not, irresponsible is the wrong word, because irresponsible kind of implies an ignorance. They're like, well, I didn't know, but it seems very deliberate.
It's incendiary. You know what? It's incendiary, but like I said, without any fucking balls. Because, you know, he's not really making a declarative statement. He's just like, I'm just saying raw time. It's like, no, but you know what you want to say when you can't. But you know that you can't say it. That's the thing. Like, you motherfucker know you can't say exactly what you probably feel that you want to say or have the real gumption to say deep underneath. That, God damn it, why are these black people? If they would just shut up, everything would be all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know they can't say that. So they have to say, well, if you already would assume that's what I'm saying next is that we got to just stop all this, upheaval that's happening, you know, like, yeah, it's that type of thing.
I think it is very important that you mention the January 6th thing, because, yeah, like, hold on. I just read this thing. It was from an article. The Aldean's political views first entered the spotlight during the January 6th insurrection when Brittany Aldean shared an image alleging that two men who stormed the Capitol building were actually supporters of Antifa, a claim that was soon debunked. So, yeah, they're deep into the fucking Kool-Aid of that shit. And so maybe it's my fault that I haven't exactly been paying this dude any attention, that I just had no idea about his personal politics, but just music-wise, I never cared for him, and he always kind of rubbed me the wrong way, so I wasn't really surprised when I saw this. I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Oh, okay, so because I was trying to make sure I got this right, because when he brings up Route 91, I was like, why is he saying that specifically? What's going on? That was the actual shooting that had happened at the Harvest Music Festival.
Oh, okay, that is what I thought, but I didn't make that connection with what he'd said specifically.
Yeah, and like I said, and that's why the person who retweeted brought up is just like, okay, well, where's all the energy for that gun waving? How come no one's running up to the hotel and trying to take that guy? Oh no, we just fucking jet, right? So you know what I'm saying? It's like this sort of like, where's your fucking, where's your politics? You know what I mean? Where's your gumption when it was all about that? Oh, you won't want to do it to this, this guy who's an actual fucking threat who you can't see. You know what I'm saying? You actually have to go, oh shit, maybe I do need someone who's trained in taking out crazy gunmen. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can't just do this myself, you know?
It's like what you said about having it both ways. He can be, pro-cop, pro-military, but if they were going to come down and confiscate guns, who do you think would be doing it? It would be the cops and the military. And then all of a sudden, what? You're going to be fucking standing there with a goddamn militia? Like, that's why you need to be specific with where you stand on these things, because you can't just, blanket statement of just like, I respect this authoritarianism, honestly. And then be like, well, if it gets turned around on me, though, then I guess me and my boys are going to be blasting. Like, what?
But you see how it is. It's rules for thee and not for me. That's all this is.
So, fuck Jason Aldean. This shit's disgusting. I hope that this is the end of it. I hope we don't hear too much of it anymore. And honestly, I hope it tanks his career. That's just me personally. I'm not pro quote-unquote censorship, and I don't believe in, silencing Jason Aldean, but there has to be some sort of accountability.
Yeah, I think when you get exposed for a certain thing, and it's like, oh, that's your character? Oh, okay. Then I think that, the people owe them, owe this person to be like, okay, how do we feel about that? Oh, are we going to keep supporting that? Is that cool? You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel. It's like, let the people decide. It's like, now that we know, it's like, that's the type of person you are. Hey, country, are y'all cool with that? Because I personally don't think that most country fans are racist douchebags who are fine with dog whistles. No, I think that's honestly a minority of people that gets dog whistled to by, a base that feels like they don't need to, like a certain type of base within the base that feels that they are protected. You know what I'm saying? And just in a certain way that, like, it happens with all things, right? Where it's just like, oh, yeah, they're, allowed to get away with that because, the institution is so that not enough people are questioning the thing anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, most people are just going about their lives. So, like, it's no big deal. But I feel like if you hit people to what's going on, you go like, hey, wait a minute. Is that okay? Wait, hold on a second. What exactly were you saying when you said that right there? What exactly the fuck does that mean? If you just hit people to that, I think people, could think for themselves, but yeah.
And I'm gonna say this too. I'm not a huge fan of when musicians I like put out, political statement songs anyway. Even if I kind of agree with the message, it always is just kind of embarrassing.
Like, you still have to make a good song, and if you don't, then it just gotta feel like it's the propaganda, right? Where it's just like, oh, you're just making yes, we know that's the right thing to say. All right, not everyone is Bruce Springsteen, not everyone has their way with words and is really able to get it across the way that they want. But yeah, I just hope radio stations don't play this. I hope other musicians speak out on this and don't approve of this. And yeah, I just hope it affects them financially. And that they get the fucking hint. And if you want to go back to making your corny shit that has sold forever and done you fine up until now, that's fine. But this shit isn't it. And there just needs to be pushback on it. But it's still a really relatively new story, so I guess we'll just have to see where it goes from here, because now I'm going to be paying a fucking attention to Jason Aldean, which is not where I thought I was going to be doing. Yeah, what are you doing?
Fuck.
That's not how life should go.
No!
Yeah, let's talk about these albums.
Let's talk about Pro Dillinger.
Wrestling. Oh, yeah.
And Sting versus Flair, Clash of the Champions, RC, when we were talking about... when you said that we needed to do a rap album, I was pretty pleased to see that the next one in line just happened to be a wrestling themed album. It's
the
interesting.
Best of both worlds.
It's kind of in the same vein of like when we talk about Czarface. We'll throw an occasional wrestling reference in there. This one's a bit more heavy-handed with it because I think on Czarface's albums, you'd get a couple songs that have wrestling samples in them. Every song on here does, and maybe too much.
Yeah, wasn't there a rock album that we listened to that was like this, where it was like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Because there was the hair match song where it was about like the guy who had to get his...
fucking Mountain Goats.
Yeah. So we got a lot of wrestling themed albums.
But see, with the Mountain Goats, every song was about wrestling, was about either a wrestler or from the point of view of a wrestler. This album is very different in that you've got two rappers who just kind of vaguely assume the personalities of Sting and Flair, but they just occasionally drop wrestling references, and the rest of the songs are just kind of their normal.
I feel like it's interesting. It's mostly the samples and stuff that are like the window dressing that make the songs what they are.
Yeah.
You know, and it heightens things. So it's like, oh, at the end of the verse, he's like, and so-and-so came off the top rope. Can you believe? You know, it's like the hype for the verse, you know? And I don't know about you, but I actually think it kind of worked for the most part. I liked it. Like, I thought it was a cool, like, it was a solid project all the way through. Like, you know, it was only 21 minutes, nice, short and sweet, a fun little concept in and out. And I think that like there was enough dynamics happening in those samples that made it fun from song to song. Cause like, it would be like I love the intro where it's like, you know, you hear the guy who's going like, I want you gentlemen all to respect your professional athletes. I hope you respect the professionalism of what we're doing. And you hear a smash cut and someone going like, get the security and get him out of here.
Yeah. Get them out of here!
So I just love how it just like it drops you into like, that's right, we're gonna have a good clean fight. And it's like, no, that guy's breaking the rules, and then oh no, smash it! Like I love how it's like it actually really gives you, it sets the scene, and like, oh, there's one guy trying to do things the right way, but who's this rogue? You know?
I think the sample clips might go on a little too long in some songs. Like,
some songs, yeah.
Where it's like half the song is sample, but I mean,
right.
I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not offended by that. I don't mind that. Like, it fucking pops me because I get it. Like, it's Eric Bischoff, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Mongo McMichaels talking in these clips, so it's like, oh shit, this is awesome. Like, I know what this is. I know what it's from. But yeah, I'm just like, I don't know if I need this long of clips. Like, it's almost longer than the verses themselves are sometimes.
Yeah.
It definitely sets a scene, though.
And now, I will say this is like off the front. So there's two rappers, it's Sting versus Flair, and the first rapper drops the F-bomb right out of the gate. I was throwing my popcorn at the screen. I'm like, no, boo!
I was like, so pissed.
You're setting a bad example for the kids, boo!
Not only is it in the very first song,
right?
But the guy who's supposed to be Sting, you're gonna have the face dropping a homophobic slur? Why would you do that?
And so then we all
at least have Flair do it.
Yeah, right. I'm like, well, now I'm definitely going for Mickey Diamonds.
Yeah, like what the hell is that? And it doesn't happen again, luckily.
No, it doesn't. It's just one moment where it's just like, we just had to get this out of the way. You had to get it out of your system, boys.
Yeah, I was so disappointed by that. I was like, fuck, man, please don't let this be. Like, it soured my experience right from the start.
Yeah.
But luckily, I did end up only enjoying it more and more over time. Like, the first track, I was kind of, you know, I was rocking with. But, like, the second and third track, I was like, okay. And then the rest of it was like, okay. Now now I'm with it. Like, now you're fucking rocking with all cylinders.
Right. I love the cage match joint where it just had a dope ass line with there. Like, you know, when someone takes a Stevie Wonder line like one level to the next thing, you know, we're in the moment where you're like, oh, that's actually pretty good how we flipped it. He's like, yo, this motherfucker Stevie Wonder, he talking about keys, but he ain't seen shit. I'm like, okay, that was pretty good.
That's good. Yeah, that's very clever.
And then what it says, oh yeah, we hit the ATM and throw it up like bulimics.
There's like, a bunch of that shit, like really clever
I love the sound of just the bounciness of the mat at certain points.
Oh
where
my
it just
God.
like
Yeah.
it just fit right in. Like there would be certain points where they'd hit a certain punchline and you hear what sounded like someone hitting the mat, and so it'd be like, oh shit.
There are people on TikTok who pair old wrestling clips, usually lucha libre stuff, like very fast-paced, high-flying shit,
I gotta watch some of that.
with like mostly MF Doom and Ghostface, like that type of shit,
That's
like
awesome.
that attitude in hip hop. So it's like I could easily see people just pairing these songs and clips of like between Sting and Flair that would be fucking great. It would fit really well. The song Stinger Splash, which I was a little confused as to why they just like basically repeated a verse twice, but
Yeah. It was like, oh, run it back. But I was like, was that great? I mean, all right.
yeah, like that much? You're gonna run that whole part back? Okay.
And I thought it was interesting though, because again, these samples, like, it feels like they're almost telling a story. Because it's like, there's one part where I think there's one song, the Style and Profiling, that's like just the, it's before the match, maybe the night before, we're all chilling out, having some smokes, having some drinks, kicking it, you know what I'm saying, before the big match. And then the Stinger Splash, like at the end of that song, there's like a part where you hear someone dropping to the mat, and then you hear someone say, oh, nobody's home, he launched the splash, but he missed. And it was like oh shit, did this song fail to take out the champ? Like, so it felt like there was like a mini story happening.
There's a line also where he says, my hands got 2 rings like war games, which is so specific where it's a match where they have 2 wrestling rings side by side. So it's like, okay, like if you know wrestling, you appreciate it. Like Fatal 4-Way is so chock full of very specific wrestling references that popped me every single time. Step in the ring would be a mass transit incident. There was a match in ECW in the late 90s where this person was like, hey, I'm going to fill in for a match because someone's not here. I'm going to be on the card. And my gimmick is that I'm a bus driver because I'm a big guy and I'm like Ralph Crandon and they call me Mass Transit because I'm big. He gets in the ring and he gets in the ring with New Jack. And if you look up New Jack, if you've never seen him, he's this black dude whose his whole gimmick was just pissing off the white audiences with just being a loud, angry black guy.
I didn't come up here to be liked. I came up here to get paid. And whoever you put in front of me, I'm going to drop you down. I'd like to send a special shout out to my homeboy, O.J. Simpson. Keep up the good work, baby. 2 less we got to worry about. You understand? Keep up the good work.
Like, oh, shit!
Louis Farrakhan will be the next president. Snoop Dogg, we know you're innocent. You called me last night.
So what's fucked up about New Jack is that he's also like kind of a piece of shit. So he's in this match with this guy and he's a bus driver. And the bus driver guy is like, hey, I don't want to do this spot in particular. And New Jack is oh, no, you don't? Okay. So he cuts him up real fucking bad. And he's like bleeding out. And come to find out, oh, this guy lied. He's only 16. He wasn't ever supposed to get in the ring. He lied to the promoters. So New Jack almost killed a 16-year-old who lied to the promoters to get in the ring.
Whoa!
So he ended up trying to sue. But the promoters were like, dude, you fucking told us you were of age and you were like trained. You can't come back and say, that you, like, we lied to you. Like, you lied to us to get in there in the first place. Like, that's totally up to you. So for them to reference mass transit incident specifically, it was like, oh shit, they're fucking going deep with this. So I loved that.
Monday Night Nitro.
Monday Nitro.
Oh, incredible track. I love the Ghostface Killer sample. Again, these Ghostface Killer samples, whenever they just come out, I always pop for. I remember the inhale, break beats of hell. And there was one line where he goes like, he says something about, like, looks like I controlled the weather the way that powder splash. And like, that was just such an epic image moment. And then, and at the end, you just heard one of the announcers go like, oh man, he wants Flair in the worst way. Like, I was just so fucking hype off that track.
What's really funny to me, and this is a very wrestling head specific thing to point out, but you just reminded me of it, so I can't help but say this. If you're gonna do a wrestling rivalry, Sting and Flair is pretty legendary, but if they're gonna be represented by 2 badass, hardcore rapper dudes. Sting in the late 80s, early 90s was just face paint for like hero to the kids, what they refer to as a white meat baby face, just squeaky clean. So to be like, oh yeah, I'm Sting. Like, I mean, Sting was kind of a punk. Like, he wasn't a badass. Like, yeah, he was good in the ring, but like, he was never like oh, that Sting's a bad motherfucker, you know? Like, maybe if you were talking late 90s where Sting's rolling around looking like the Crow with a fucking baseball bat, maybe. But specifically to be like, you know, Flair, his whole thing was, I've got money. I can have any woman I want. They even have that sample, like, I can have any woman that I want. Because I'm the best looking wrestler around. Like, it's like, okay, I get that. A fucking wrestler, like a rapper comparing themselves to Flair makes perfect sense, because his whole thing is very, you know, women, cars, money, lavish lifestyle, and he could also kick your ass. But Sting's gimmick in the late 80s was like, I'm a surfer, and I go, ow! It's like, what? I'm sorry?
Wow. Well, I love the album cover, though, where it's like...
The cover's great.
you can tell it so has that... in the middle of the moment, let me tell you one thing, brother.
I was trying to find the promo that was from, and I couldn't find it, but I was so curious. I was like, I need the reference point for this. Overall, though, I still ended up walking away with a 4.5. I thought this was a really solid project.
I gave it a 5. I thought it was solid all the way. I think it was a solid enough, just all the way listen, where it's just like, oh, this took me from one song to the next, and I didn't feel like I got bored or like there was really any like big downtime. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there wasn't really much in between time for sure, especially because the samples just kind of bleed into the next song really nice.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, before we move on, that last album was requested by Mick Swagburger XL. I want to give him a shout out real quick before we move on to Miracle of Sound and the album Level 11, requested by Kyle Summers. So
the sigh.
So I looked up Miracle of Sound on Wikipedia and immediately recognized the picture of the guy. I didn't know his name, but I was like, I've seen that guy before, Gavin Dunn, and I didn't know where I knew him from until I read that it was a video game composer, and it all clicked.
Yeah.
It all suddenly fell into place. And I'm not necessarily saying that's a good or a bad thing. But I'm just saying it fit.
Yes, very much so. The like replicating the epicness of a certain sound, you know.
Oh boy. We just did the what was it? Guilty Gear Strive soundtrack. And that one I was like, you know, this one it's not hokey like Crush 40 type deal. This is kind of more along the line of the Crush 40 deal for me.
There's a little bit of hoke in it.
It's a little bit of hoke. And also, I don't like to throw this word around, but I honestly couldn't think of a better word to describe it. Just kind of pretentious in a way. Of like, it's super over the top and bombastic, but then you listen to it and it's like, what the fuck is it saying though? Like,
I just got melodramatic. It was very melodramatic. Yeah. Where it's like, because it's very much like, this is what good epic music is supposed to sound like. It's supposed to go like this. You know what I mean? Where it's like, this is the respectable epic music. And it's like, you know, at the same time, what's it really communicating from track to track other than, isn't it still epic, you know?
It's like Hans Zimmer soundtrack score,
right.
Like big fucking Avengers fight scene score.
Except it's every scene.
Yeah.
But now I will say it didn't start off too bad with Beyond These Walls. It had the nice little, Egyptian sort of instrumentation mixed with the rock sort of sound. So I thought that was a cool opener. I think they vary it enough from track to track with the specific inspirations from sounds. Because it's like I don't necessarily feel like every track is the same, but it feels like it's the same. Like scale, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, like I did like Valhalla Calling. I thought that was different enough from the first track, which is like it feels more like the dirge of the marching Scandinavian soldiers or something like that. I thought that was cool. But then I think When Honor Dies was the first one that like immediately had me having that feel that I had with that other video game album where it's like when everything is epic, nothing feels epic anymore. You know, like
I was less impressed by the. Like you had said, like Egypt or like India inspired, like Beyond These Walls, because it's like this is an Irish dude, and
yeah, I was trying to figure that out. I was like, wait,
him doing these like far off land sounding songs, like they definitely sounded like a song from like an Assassin's Creed type deal.
Right. Emulating the sound. Yeah, that sort of deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like without really understanding or like an appreciation for the culture or ever. It's like, oh yeah, this is a nice color I used in this painting. It's like, oh, okay, I don't know why you needed to do that. But there are songs that are like more Celtic, and I guess that
I did like
more
those.
Authentic, I guess.
Yeah. For me, I really like the later one, and I also really like City of Night. I'm a ghost in the city, the ghost in the city at night. Like that legit had that 80s bubblegum crisis, Tokyo 24, let's go vibe. Like I was digging that shit.
I liked the synth to that. It was definitely different than the other songs.
Yeah. And then Lilac and Violet. Okay, so I feel like we're listening to like a sequel album to what we did last time, because literally there's the female vocalist that only shows up for 2 tracks, and you know what I mean? And it's like she's really great on this song. I absolutely love Lilac and Violet. But then the later song that she shows up in feels like the melodramatic, we tipped over, we put too much Evanescence in here, and now it's too melodramatic, it's too soap opera-y. You know, it's too, you know that Sanctified song? That, I'm sanctified through my Savior. It's like a sort of Baroque pop sounding thing where it's like you've got to hit a golden ratio for that type of thing, where that it doesn't sound like you said either pretentious or melodramatic, but it's just melodramatic enough where that it hits that anthemic feel, you know. And I feel like for the Lilac and the Lilac joint, I feel like that one hit it really hard. But for the one where she comes back, it felt like it just tipped it just slightly too over. Where I was like, I don't, you know, when you get that feeling when you're like listening to a song that's really cheesy and you like kind of don't want anyone to walk in on you listening to it because you're like, no, I don't identify with this. I don't, you know what I mean?
See, I
don't think this is cool.
The album hit me in a different way, and I did want to point out a couple things in particular because something happened twice that definitely made me laugh. Like, for example, in City of Night, I wrote down, didn't hold my interest for very long, really wish dude would have got a different singer for this one-man band. And then the very next song started, and I wrote, oh, he listened. And then later, on Through Life and Loss featuring Charm, I wrote, honestly, the best song so far. The only change I would make is to get Gavin off the song altogether. And then When Forever Comes featuring Charm starts, and I go, oh, he listened, because that's the one he's not on at all. And for me, for my money, like I had said, up until that point, Through Life and Loss, I thought that was the first time the album really fucking started to kick it into high gear for me. But then, When Forever Comes featuring Charm, I thought that was the best song on the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah.
So
that song
was
hit
weird
me the
because
hardest.
I felt like Through Life and Loss was when it got too melodramatic for me, where it felt too musical theatery. And then when Forever Comes came in, I was like, okay, this is solid enough, middle of the road, you know, ballad for the graduation ceremony. But like, I feel like I'm not listening to it outside of that, you know? Like,
I thought it was a beautiful song. I really liked the musicality.
I get you though. I get it though.
And Charm on there. I was wrong though, because what I wrote down is, I hate that it's about to be ruined by Gavin's hard rock bullshit on the next track. And then Rest Your Head started, and I'm like, oh, I was wrong. Now the album decides it wants to be dope?
Yeah, he's listening to you. Yeah.
Because then Rest Your Head was good too, and I was like, oh shit. Okay.
And here's the thing, okay. So for me, I'm always like, you never want to put two, slower, softer songs in a row because it kind of feels like, But it was a weird thing where I was listening to this. I was like, wait, it's like two slow songs in a row. I feel like this is making me a bit more tired than I think he's intending. But then I had a moment where I was like, I don't know, maybe this is exactly what he wants because like his voice sounds like it's trying to lull you to sleep. Like it's so warm and inviting. Like it's just like, rest that weary head. I was like, oh, okay.
if you say so, Gav.
Yeah.
Although, on another note I have written down on Through Life and Loss was just looked ahead, and this fucking prick had the nerve to do a 9-minute fucking song.
Oh, man. Although, I will say, I did fucking love that song.
No way.
Oh, you are feeling it?
No.
No, for me, I was like, I did not feel the length of it. Like, just a little bit, but in the sense of, like, I was actually, like, along for the ride of what each verse was saying. So it's like the detail of it was just so weirdly intricate and intimate that I was like, okay, where are you going with this? It's like, it's basically a fucking, an Irish, what's that Keanu Reeves movie? An Irish John Wick, where it's like, these bastards killed my dog and I'm out for revenge. Like,
I hate to say it, but as soon as he started singing Irish, I was like, fuck, get out of here. I was not sticking around for much longer, honestly. I hate to admit it, but I did not stick around for all 9 minutes. I couldn't. I think I made it about halfway through, and I was like, fuck this.
I mean, I will be honest with you. It's not like, it's not like it, like, builds. Like, that's the thing with the story. It kind of just, like, the story just keeps happening. It doesn't go like, oh, that plot detail was important because now we're talking about this and that. Like, it doesn't really feel like it actually, feels like a mounting story, but it is just interesting what the details are, like the random thing about like, and he stayed with this woman even though he cheated on her every day. And it's like, what? Like, it's just the details are so weirdly intricate. But it's not, I wouldn't exactly be like, no, you gotta go back, you missed where it went. Like, nah, I didn't exactly like, oh, it all came together. It was just kind of like,
I didn't get the impression that I was missing much. I did think the album ended on a very strong note with A Long Year.
Now, see, I did like this song. Like, I thought it was a solid song, but it was, like, the last song is such an epic, feels like the barn burner ending thing that it was just like I don't know, I feel like this is like credits music at this point. Like, it's been a long year. Dude, it's been a long album. Like, you just hit us with a 9-minute track, and you're like, wait, guys, where are you going? I had one more. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, like, I think maybe this should have went earlier. And maybe you end with the 9-minute fucking epic. I don't know. Yeah. But I think the soft, sincere, sweet song to end an album is always a pretty smart move.
That's true.
Ending on a very kind of more of a touching note. And this was just one of those like, hey, things are rough, but you'll get through it kind of song. And I was like, you know what? Maybe it's just because I really needed this. Because I've been going through it lately, that I needed a song like this. But yeah, I thought it ended pretty strong. I just wish the first half grabbed me. And ultimately I walked away with a 3.
Oh, I gave it a 4. And I think like that's purely because of the musicianship that's kind of on display on this album. Like I can't deny that, right? But at the same time, like competency only goes so far in terms of replayability after a certain point, right?
Oh yeah, and I mean, and Gavin and his like kind of bland monotone singing kind of lost my interest because his like Gregorian chant singing that he does is just like, all right, you got
this is what epic music sounds like, that sort of feel.
It's funny, like I didn't like when he did that, but then when he actually tried to like sing and hit notes, I was like, oh, this is worse, actually.
See, I was just about to say, it's like, I don't know, because I kind of like the, like, especially in the second track where it's like, dirge, the soldiers dirge, but
I was so bored by that song.
Because like you said, when he goes up and tries to, get his prince on, then it's kind of like I don't know if I want this.
It is less convincing for sure.
Yeah.
But from there, we've only got one more place to go, and it's your boy. It's David Bowie.
You know him, you love him.
Look. I was very excited. And I love Bowie, and I'm happy to review any of Bowie albums for sure. But when Dr. Goatman came through and continued the chronological order down the catalog and requested all night, requested Young Americans, this was my, okay, I need to hear what RC had to say about this one, because that is all that was on my mind. Because I gotta admit, this is not an album of Bowie's that I revisit much, but I gotta say, upon giving it my undivided attention, this album fucking smashes. So, RC, what did you think about it? Bowie's attempt at Blue-Eyed Soul.
So,
The Thin White Duke.
Oh, is this the period? Is that where we're at now?
Yep.
Oh, okay, we're here.
We are here. This is The Thin White Duke. We got a taste of it on Diamond Dogs, and now we are waist deep in Thin White Duke.
The Aladdin Sane, that joint with the really glissando piano.
Oh, maybe.
Was that? Because it's like, this feels like the refined gentleman. But hold on a second. What's that black gospel choir in the background? What they doing there? Hold on a second. Look, can I tell you? So this is such an interesting album because I believe this is the first time he's really used the black gospel choir that I feel like a lot of, 70s and 80s musicians kind of did to do the, hey, this has got to be a respectable song. Listen to the black choir that's, coming straight from the 50s to give some, a shellac of respectability to this joint. You know what I mean?
We heard the black background singers on Panic in Detroit.
Yeah, maybe
Aladdin
like one or
Sane.
two joints. But here, I feel like they're a genuine, piece of the band. Like, they are a irreplaceable color of how this album comes out. And it's so fascinating. Because what did you say? This is his, Blue-Eyed Soul album. And it's like, I so got that, but it's more than that, and it's so weird, but I will have to say, it didn't hit every pitch that I wanted it to get hit as the second half of the album got kicking off, and we'll get into it because it's like, okay, so the first track, let's just dive into it. First track, we got Young Americans. Okay, I could see the record labels just going into him and being like, Bowie, look, we know that you're the spaceman, okay? We know that you got that on lock, all right? We know that you know what I'm saying? You're bringing people to the concepts of outer space, and we are still selling platinum records, and you can still do it. But, Bubby, baby, we need some hit songs. I know you can make them. So we gave you 2 albums where you could be the spaceman, whatever. Give us these hits, man. And he was like, after this next tour, I think I could probably come up with something. Because that's what this feels like with Young Americans. This is the fucking, you want yacht rock? You want the black chorus sort of thing? Okay, let's fucking turn this up to 11 and show you how we do this shit on Bowie's side of things, The 2 things I've heard about this album, and I'm not sure if either of these are right, but one of them was that, this was specifically kind of like what we talked about on the D.D. King album, where it was like, I really got into hip-hop, and I really wanted to make a hip-hop album. Bowie was, suddenly struck by this inspiration of just, the American soul sound, and he just was so touched by it that he really wanted to try his hand at it, and that's what we got here. And the other thing I remember hearing is that he doesn't remember making this album. Because this is also the period when he got really into drugs. Okay, so can I just say, this sounds way less weird than I thought it was going to be.
Right? Yeah. When you hear that.
Coke, and he's just like, hold on, what are those black Americans doing? That sounds pretty ripping, hold on.
Yeah, in that way, it kind of reminds me of Remain in Light, the Talking Heads album, where, they got the world beat going on in the background because David was like
that's totally what I was thinking. Yeah. But then I was thinking like, well, wait, that's it. So I'm already going. 1975 was when this album came out. What?
Yeah, again.
Get the fuck out of it. How is it? We've got like 7 albums, and this man, and we're not even halfway through this decade. I don't understand it. And he already sounds like a decade and a half later.
Yeah.
This is madness, people.
He's got Luther Vandross singing on the songs in the background.
That was so interesting because the weird thing about it is it didn't come out the way I think he was trying to make it come out, at least from how I was hearing it. But it was so its own thing that I'm like, I don't know what to give it other than, like plastic, plastic R&B sort of feel, where it's like, because it definitely, it's like I said, the same thing with Remain in Light, where it's like, he's doing a world music thing, but it's so his particular thing that it doesn't feel like he's ripping it off. It feels like he's enhancing it with his type of weirdness. You know what I mean? So like, it's exactly like where you feel like, a lesser musician would be like, oh, this guy's just hopping on get a bunch of black artists in the background and now you made a respectable album. But no, with this, it feels like he's like pulling things into a new place because first of all, just with the first song, it's like, oh yeah, it's all about the young American. And at first it just feels like it's about, the 1950s, oh, young Americans, and then like later on, he kind of gets into this shit where it's like, have you ever been the un-American? Just you and your idols singing falsetto about leather everywhere and not a myth left from the ghetto? Well, you know what I'm saying? So he starts getting into the shit where you're like, oh, wait a minute, he's not letting you off the hook. Hold on. It's like, oh, I see you Americans. I see the way you treat your lessers,
Right? Yeah.
Oh, man. And so it was just like track 1. We've got the pop song that's fucking banging, but then we got he's not going to let you fucking get away without a little bit of social commentary for that ass. Although it's interesting, I looked it up, it's like, oh, apparently this song is about a newlywed couple that don't really know if they like each other. I was like, that's not what I got from this song.
Yeah, like maybe the first verse?
Yeah, I
thought
he was
about it a little bit.
Yeah, I thought he was thoroughly dressing down like Americans.
Oh yeah, I mean, but by the end of it, it definitely gets, it talks about more than just the the first verse is talking about this couple, and it's like either he's just like, am I too young? And it's like, oh, this guy's getting laid or whatever, and he's kind of unsure about whether or not he's ready for this, but then it either it goes way too quick or something. That's what I got from it. And then she's kind of unsatisfied with it, but that's just a little taste. Because then by the second verse, it's like, I'm driving by homeless people in my Mustang. And it's like, wait a minute, what's happening here? What are you talking about? This is not where we were just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah. And then you ain't a pimp, you ain't a hustler. A pimp's got a caddy and a lady's got a Chrysler. Black's got respect and the white's got his soul train. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, this is such a scattershot lyric.
So madness.
He's all fucking over the place in this song, but by the middle where he's just, do you remember your President Nixon? He's still president. It's only 75, Bowie.
Hey, British man. Okay, I don't know about your British politics, but hey, all right, you don't gotta get all on us, okay? I'm gonna go look up some British politics right now, just to have something to say back to you. Hold on.
I'm gonna dress down the Queen here in a minute, Bowie.
Yeah.
You just wait.
Oh man.
Do you remember Queen Elizabeth? She just died a year ago. Yes, I do.
What was that all about, huh? Why'd you have her for all those decades? I thought you guys were supposed to be better than us or something. Anyway, we still have a queen for reasons you couldn't really explain. All right, you need her for touring and taxes or whatever, right? So that people go see the Buckingham Palace, and they'll be like, how can I believe that this is actual British monuments unless there's old person there? We needed the old person to be there. Anyway,
when you put it that way, it makes a lot of sense.
Anyway, then we get When, which, I get, with this one, I was like, okay, we're just cooling out. in this new David Bowie sound. Like we got the splashy sax, we got the new color of the black choir, you know, kicking in the background. But like they feel like an integral part of the songs. That's what's really cool. They never just feel like they're just, oh, here comes the hook, and then it always feels like they're just doing something a little in the verses or something like that. Like they never just feel like they're just there, you know.
There are the points I forgot that, like, especially on like Young Americans, where like they're still just singing in the background while he's singing over them, and it sounds like super hectic. There's parts where they kind of have that little back and forth. There's a part in particular.
It's so cool.
Where the background singers quote the Beatles song and just go, I read the news today, oh boy. And it's not like related to anything, but then Bowie just kind of like you kind of get the feeling that Bowie just kind of looks over and he's just like, yeah. Like, he's kind of acknowledging what's going on and he's just grooving with it. And I didn't reference it or acknowledge it, but the fucking ain't no one damn song that can make me break down and cry. That is on the same level of well-deserved iconic breakdowns as Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am from Suffragette City. Like when everything just drops out and he just says that, and then the drums just they just come back in. It's like, yeah.
For sure.
Like everyone just kind of stops and looks at him like, you alright, dude? You good? Alright, let's go. Bring it back in. Yeah, that song is the shit. What is on a whole different level of like the first note I have written down is just what? Because the song just washes the fuck over me. It's got this ethereal synth instrumentation and Bowie's vocals are just like the slightly warbled effect, and it's just so hypnotic in a way. It's very like almost psychedelic.
Yeah, well, it's the thing about it. It's like a distinguished brown tone psychedelic. You know, it's like it's weird. It's like it's weird, but it's not too weird. It's like refined. It's so strange because it's like there's a controlledness to this that doesn't feel as wild and out there as I feel like the previous sort of spaceman shit that he does. But it feels like he took the not the aesthetics, but the tools of like blending the sounds and stuff like that, and is applying it to this R&B feel. That's what it feels like. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the way he would be blending synths and doing all that weird stuff, he's not doing it with the synths as much as he's doing it with the people's voices. You know what I'm saying? And so like that's what I'm hearing, and so it's kind of like, oh, you're moving to this new like you didn't move up, you moved to the left. You know, like yeah. Then there's Fascination.
Oh man, Fascination.
This is the one that's written with that was written by a young Luther Vandross. Apparently the instrumental was originally by Vandross called Funky Music, and it was played before one of Bowie's concerts in 1974. And he was like, hey, that shit's kind of fucking fresh.
Oh shit, okay. That's cool. Just like incorporate that. I want to write a fucking song on that.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, this is what they call it, plastic soul. And it's like this weird thing. It's like, I get it, because it's like, you know what I mean, right? Where it's like, it's emulating, but it's not imitating it, you know? Like, it's so interesting. And man, these grooves are so fucking keyed in with the bass line. Oh my God. Like, yo, oh my God. And the hook that takes a part of me. I can't help it. I've got to use her every time Fascination comes around. Like, it so gives you that sort of like, oh, she beckons me, you know?
Just the one part, the Fascination. Sure enough, it's like, yeah! I fucking love that so goddamn much. The funky ass bass and electric guitar.
Oh man.
And it's like really short bits at the top. Like, I don't even know what they're I think they're just called choruses on Genius, but then like I was getting it confused with Right. Because Fascination and Right kind of blend together in my head.
You're right, it's a similar.
Because they sound a little similar.
Yeah.
Where it is just kind of like, it almost just sounds like slam poetry of just like people just saying shit and just be like, I don't care what the fuck. Just say shit and let the music
it's the
ride.
emotion of the moment. Yeah, if it feels right, we're saying it. Yeah.
It's stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
What I love about Right also is the only quote I saw on Genius is a fan-submitted annotation that just says, this song is obviously about gay sex. And it's like, well, I don't know if you can say that.
Keeping it in the back.
Obviously, I don't know. Your interpretation, perhaps.
Don't go Jason Aldean on it.
No, yeah. Try that shit in a small town, boy.
People are going to have their interpretations, but I feel like saying it's gay sex, that's too far.
It's like, now, I know Bowie was queer, and do I wish he was more explicit in what his songs are about? Yes. So I don't think it's unfair to make that assumption, but I did think it was very funny that they said obviously when he was the only person saying it. Like, nobody else had this interpretation, but this guy's like, come on, guys, wake the fuck up.
It's like,
it's about gay
someone
sex.
Who's heard the song the whole, like, who is always had that as their headcanon the whole time, and is just finally speaking up. It's like, I mean, come on, we all just already knew that, right? Like,
I don't know what we haven't been saying it this whole time. It's just been an unspoken truth, right?
But, okay, so the first 4 tracks, man, we are slamming, we are hitting hard. This is the one I like the most, right? Yeah, where the bits cross over each other and how, like, the melody's like, like, they just hit over each other right in the pockets in the perfect places. Then we get track number 5, which is fine.
Yeah.
But, like, the religious song, it just doesn't quite hit as hard. Like, I just don't get that feeling from Bowie that he's, a man looking for fishing for religion. And what's weird about it is I don't get it on this song, but didn't he do another song on one of the previous albums that was actually a cover that actually had that sort of like, oh man, looking for that old time religion, oh yeah, and it actually fucking slammed. So it really threw me off. I was like, this one isn't doing it for me.
What's funny, even despite the title, Somebody Up There Likes Me, I didn't even really pick up on this being a religious song. Like, it didn't hit me like that.
No, and honestly, when I looked up some of the background, and I found this a little funny. He says, they said, somebody up there likes me. Seems like Bowie's recalibration, taking the image of a futurist Superman, and then in parentheses, which had become a bit shop-worn by Diamond Dogs. And reincarnating it. And it was like, I love that. I love how David Bowie is like so ahead. He's just like, I'm using this just enough. We're like, all right, now stop. No more spaceship.
I pushed it a little too much. Yo, fucking heard that Superman shit unlike The Man Who Sold the World, and we're like 4 albums later, and we're like, all right, with the Superman shit.
But yeah, he says, reincarnating as a media figure, a TV personality, a handsome politician kissing babies and women, existing purely as an image, capturing the hearts of millions. He's common, yet he's also a star-chosen celebrity messiah. And again, I didn't get that from this track either.
Yeah.
So I was like, and now it's interesting because I feel like this is the track where there was the most integration of the gospel choir, where I felt like they were doing like a whole bunch of shit. And I wanted to appreciate it because it really felt like he was letting them like get up on the mic and actually like have full parts. And so I thought that was cool. But unfortunately, it just didn't come together. Like, I just didn't feel the soul of this track. Ironically enough, on the one song that's supposed to be the most about soul, I just didn't feel like his heart was in, you know what I'm saying, really doing it. It felt like it was like, this felt like the most like the, soul R&B stuff. This is an interesting curiosity that I'm kind of, trying to mix it up with. But he didn't really tap into it in the way that I feel like he did in the previous 4 tracks. Mm-hmm. Then we gotta stop for a second and and talk about this moment, because I believe, you as you good folks as listeners of this podcast have been along with me for this journey where I've talked about how David Bowie is totally better than the Beatles, right? And how, David Bowie's discography, you know what I'm saying, consistently, as far as I've seen, has been standing up against the so-called legends that have come before him, right? You know what I'm saying? So with a heavy heart, I come to you guys. When I saw this track across the universe, oh snap! Here's one of the Beatles tracks that I actually really like, and I think that they actually did it right. Oh, I can't wait to hear David Bowie, the fucking spaceman, shoot us into the fucking next level galaxy with this shit. And like, it's okay, but doesn't it feel like it feels a little too junk takey? It feels like, oh, is this the official version? Are you sure this isn't like a live version and we've got like the official version that you did? Like, it just sounds slightly too unwieldy in his delivery, where it feels like he's just overdoing it in a way where it's like, oh, I know you're David Bowie, and it's like, oh, here's David Bowie doing the cover, but it feels a little too big and haughty, like, you know, it's like images of broken light unfolding, and it's just like, it's too big, dial it back, and the weirdest thing, when he gets to the hook, the part where you go, he's supposed to boom, 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 huh? Bowie, where are you? Why are you not singing that part? What happened? What? Why would you not sing that part? Was that for the audience to sing, I guess? Then why did you have like the choir? Why did you have the black choir in the background do it? Because that's fucking satisfying. You specifically took that part away? What are you doing?
He wanted to make it his own.
But he pulls away some of the power. Like, if there had been something as powerful that happened in place of that moment or around that moment, that would have been cool. Yeah. But it just so feels like the gas was let off for a second. It was just like, huh? Like, well, already it feels like you don't have a good command of how the first verse happened. And then you took away the part that was really cool, the big, you know, everybody sing along, you know, Sweet Caroline, ba 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 moment. And then it's like, what's happening? What are you doing?
I thought Bowie's personal swagger on this song really set it apart and kind of made it his own. I don't know if it's better than the original. I think I'd put it next to it.
The way I feel like Elton John out psychedelics the original of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, that's what I thought David Bowie was going to do with this. But it felt like he just kind of had a jam band and they just kind of started him with the track and he was just like, oh, I guess we're officially doing this one. And he kind of like eventually gets it acclimated into his voice. But it feels like it kind of starts off a little funky, you know? Like,
I was a little surprised. I mean, I've heard the song before, but I'd forgotten that he doesn't do the chanting in it. And instead you just hear like a guitar just kind of comes in.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, I wish there was something there. It is Lennon on guitar, though.
Oh, wow.
So, you get that. And I did really like how it just kind of devolves into a jam at the end, where it's nothing! And they're just like going back and forth. I thought that was powerful as hell. I really cool. Like this one, but I get it.
Yeah. And can you hear me? I think that one, I didn't dig that one as much either.
It was just kind of middle of the road. I like it a lot, but it's not as strong of a cut.
Yeah, it was certainly fine because again, David Bowie, it's gonna be fine.
Oh yeah.
But like this is David Bowie, so we're talking we're talking another level. It's like we already know this is competent music. We knew that, but we're talking like given that, now what are you really giving us? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm sorry, Davey. I gotta give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Because you've earned it. You've earned being scrutinized to this level where it's like, if I don't feel like it's hitting on all cylinders, I got to say the nay-no, my brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then we close out on
Fame is such an amazing cut. God.
I love it.
The fucking oh my god! Fuck!
It's so much, and then just when you think that's the cool part, you forget that he does like boom. You know that little.
God.
Wait a minute now. It's like, oh man, it's so in the pocket. Oh,
that fucking bullet for you, chili for me. Ah! Oh my god! Yeah, this song is amazing.
Now here's my thing. The only thing I'll say is, maybe I've been tainted by the fact that the Fame 90 remix, look, they had more technology by that time and they were able to make it smack even harder. So I hear this version and I can't help but feel like it's just the slightest step down, There's something about how they jagged it up a little bit more that makes it feel just right. And with this, it feels slightly too smooth. Like there's something about this that feels like, no, this needs to be jagged. It needs to be about how, this guy who's like, you know what I'm saying, reeling from the fame and being tossed this way and that, you know what I mean? Like this is too smooth for him, you know? Look, but I do like, so it's the thing is like, there's stuff that changes in the Fame 90 remix that isn't in this version, where it's like the little like that's in there. Although there is the stuff, the fame, that's in both versions. I wasn't expecting that.
It was like falling down a well.
Yeah, that sound, that specifically. What's her name? That sounds like a remix part, but no, that was apparently the original. But the little I think that's the only thing that's specifically not in the remix. And that's the part that, while I like it, it feels like the thing that someone else is going to sample in a rap song later, but it doesn't quite fit here. Like, you know?
Yeah.
But I can't act like it's still not a solid fucking tune. So overall, what are your thoughts? What would you rate it?
4.5.
I gotta give it that 4.
Okay, that's fine.
And, you know, it sucks having to see that rating because it was like the first 4 tracks on this album, absolutely phenomenal. And then of course Fame fucking rounds it out. But then I had that moment where I was like, oh no, yes, and across and because the album's only 8 tracks, it's like, that's, you know, over half of the second half of the album. You know what I mean? Like, so it just pulls me down just that much. So it's one of those like I'm sad to say, even though, you know, David Bowie still wins the belt, still wins the championship, but I'm seeing 1 or 2 chinks in the armor, which is like, oh, how many times is he going to be able to win it though? Like, you know.
I mean, it is going to get interesting from here because now we're into drug era Bowie, where it gets a little more experimental.
Oh, I'm seeing the champ get tired and maybe like, is he bleeding from his nose a little bit?
See, we've gone down this road before though, because you were not big on Aladdin Sane though either.
That's true.
And then he came back with Diamond Dogs, so
who knows when the man might get a second win? The unpredictable David Bowie.
As soon as you think you have him on the ropes, that's all I'm saying.
He maneuvers through.
Yeah.
I remember the Aladdin Sane. I think it was like 3 out of the 8 tracks I liked. So this one's like an inversion where it's like 5 out of the 8 tracks I like, but only 3 I don't. So it's like but it's just enough to make me feel like, oh no, you're supposed to be untouchable though. No, I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you have the moment where like, oh shit, oh, did he get him in his Achilles? Oh no.
We'll see where it goes from here.
You get surprised, so you're like you have that moment where like, he's supposed to be the untouchable Diamond Dog.
Yeah. I thought he was Superman.
Is he? Does he bleed like every other man?
I thought it was the Starman. I thought it was the Ubermensch. Now, no. Well, luckily, spoiler alert, but Dr. Goatman has definitely come through with more Bowie requests, so we've got more to look forward to down the line. I think 3 are in the queue right now, so we're eating good. Is all I'm saying. The Bowie fans are eating good, and we have got the requests open. So if there is an album that you would like to hear us talk about, maybe not the next 3 Bowie albums, because those are already spoken for, you can head on over to our Ko-fi, that is ko-fi.com/goinoff, that's GOINOFF, and you can request an album to be reviewed on a future episode of the show. One slight detail that's changed since the last episode is that the Fanhouse riff comes. Leave it alone. Unsubscribe, actually. If you already are subscribed, leave it. The platform's dying. Instead, Patreon is the way to go, folks. Fan House is under new management, and it sucks. It's not good. So I've removed all the material, all of the content off the Fan House page. So the 12 people that are still subscribed, I think you might not be able to unsubscribe until like your thing is like run out, like it's expired. I understand that, but don't renew at the very least. I guess that's my ask. Don't renew. And if you want to request to something, or if you want to subscribe to something, head on over to patreon.com/muse. That is where it's happening. That's where the weekly rope break episodes are. I've been doing photo shoot sets on there. Bunch of fucking photos. So you can check all of those out. A bunch of exclusive shit. Yeah, Patreon's the way to go. You can subscribe for $1 and it's just the basic level. You can do $3 and then you get the photos. Or you can subscribe for $5 and you get the photos and the exclusive video content as well. As for everything else, it's down there in the link trees, our Twitters, our YouTubes, the Ko-fi, and all of the other great stuff that RC's got going on.
That's right. Patreon.com/rapcritic if you want to get privy to the exclusive review and new podcast episodes and Rap Critic episodes, as well as next month we're going to be taking the month off from Rap Critic, but we're going to be doing exclusive Twitch streams where we'll be doing Patreon streams with like playing video games, like the freestyle video game we played last time. We're going to have movie and music nights. So we're going to be kicking it all August. It's going to be RC's vacation time. We're still going to be giving you review and new podcasts and maybe a new song or two. You know what I'm saying? That new friend request. People seem to really enjoy that. So, we're still kicking it with some new tunes for your brain. But yeah, get with it, act like you want to. And then, of course, Ko-fi.com/rapcritic for live stream requests if you want to do absolute best ofs of certain artists, or if you want to do just album listens where we'll listen to the albums live, or just song requests where we'll play a song that you request at the end of the stream for whatever we happen to be doing that week. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Get with it, act like you want it. That's the way you could support your boy. And until next time, oh boy, we're at the end now, right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Take it on home.
Yeah, get out of here. Until next time, I'm the Rap Critic.
I'm Muse.
And rear window rednecks and virile garbage men.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The Valley of the Ultra Vixens.
The Going Off podcast is real. It's real.
You know why? Woo! Because our name's Going Off, and because we're the heavyweight podcast champions of the world.
Fuck yeah.